On number 45, we are told to find an equation for an ellipse given different data. So I'm given a center at 0, -2. The ellipse has a vertex of 0, 2, and then it contains the point 1, -2. So first, let's go ahead and graph the center of the vertex so we can look at it and then figure out where to go from there. So I'm going to draw a graph. Okay, so center of 0, -2, 1, 2. So right here, that's our center. And then we have vertex at 0, and then up to 1, 2. So this is our vertex. Well, if you recall from our ellipse, we have the equation x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals 1. And then it's over a squared and b squared. And a is over the a value is always along the side, and so a goes over whichever one. So if it's like a vertical ellipse, then a is over the y, and if it's a horizontal ellipse, then a is under the x. So looking from here, we know that our a value is the distance from B to C. So our a value is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So a equals 4. And because that was vertical rather than horizontal, our a goes under our y. So it's 4 squared, and this is b squared. So since we know that this is vertical, our a went under our y. Okay, so now that we know that, we also knew our center, so let's plug h and k in. Let's go ahead and do, so x minus 0, that's our h squared, plus y minus k, but you change the sign, so it's y plus 2 squared over 4 squared, and that equals 1. So our last thing to find is our b value, because we're looking for the equation of the ellipse. So to find our b value, we're going to use the fact that we know that it contains the point 1, -2. We're going to plug the x and the y in and solve for b. So I'm going to push this down, and let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have 1 equals x, which is 1, minus 0 squared over b squared, plus y, which is -2. So -2 plus 2, and that's squared, over 4 squared. So this is going to become 0, because -2 plus 2 is 0. And then when you square 0, it's still 0. But then we have 0 over 4 squared, or 4 squared, which is 16. But 0 over 16 is still 0. So that pretty much cancels that entire thing out. So then, let's look at this. 1 minus 0, so that equals 1 squared over b squared, and it's basically like plus 0. Okay, so let's go ahead and get b by itself. So let's multiply b to the other side, b squared. Multiply b to the other side because it was on the denominator. So we get b squared equals 1. So square root b to get it by itself, completely by itself, and we find that b equals 1. Okay, good. So now we know our b, we have our center, h and k, and we have our a. So let's finally write the equation of this ellipse. Okay, so it's x minus h, which was 0, squared, over b squared. B was 1, so that's just 1, plus y minus k. K is -2, so that's going to become positive, plus 2 squared, over b squared, which is 6, which is 4. So 4 squared is 16, equals 1. Now, you can go ahead and cut that 0 out, and I'm pretty sure it will accept it if you get rid of that 1 and you just put x squared, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and just leave it as x squared over 1. Lastly, it wants us to graph it. Okay, so let's build off of the graph that we had here. I'm going to go ahead and just make a better graph. Very long because I know that it's vertical. Okay, so once again, our center was 0, -2. That's our center. Our vertex was 0, 2. Since our A is the distance from each vertex, this is 4. So then down 4, this is going to be our other vertex. So it's like this is A and this is A. Now we know our B, so let's apply B. B was 1, so it's just 1 over. And then B was also 1 this direction, so our ellipse will look like this. And there we go, that's how we draw it.